Tonight on NAIT NewsWatch.
Continued LRT expansion plans leave community members concerned.
Corners on Stony Plain Road. They're having to take out historic buildings.
The new outlet mall near the airport is set to open in May with stores like H&M and Nike.
There's 88,000 cars that drive past this location every single day.
And students at NAIT celebrate Pride Week as the school releases its Diversity and Inclusion Survey.
Various groups across campus have been collecting for the last couple of years.
NewsWatch starts now.
Good afternoon. Welcome to NAIT NewsWatch. City Council has a lot to consider when it comes to the proposed LRT line that would service the West End in the future.
That's right. Members of the public packed into the City Hall this week to address council members about what the proposed Valley Line West LRT would look like in their community. Our Brendan Escott joins us live from the South Lobby with more on that story.
Thanks, guys. It is a contentious issue in our city, and this week members of the public were given a chance to head down to City Hall and address council members about exactly how they feel.
The LRT did not reduce traffic, period. There's no proof that it does, unless you have some magical stats that I don't see.
It was an emotional venue at City Hall on Wednesday as residents shared their thoughts on the impact of the proposed Valley Line West LRT expansion project. Susan Ma owns a heritage home in the area and says having the train run through her neighborhood would be catastrophic.
This route is trying to be all things to all people, and that can't be the way that this goes.
Dozens of concerned residents and business owners like Ma on hand. They feel the future of Edmonton's LRT service to the West End has more questions than answers. Right now, there are several proposed expansions, such as this one that would see a train run downtown along Stony Plain Road past West Edmonton Mall. Plans have been in place for nearly a decade to expand the service west, but recently the city altered the proposal, leaving people in the area upset.
Even to go around the corners on Stony Plain Road, they're having to take out historic buildings, businesses, homes, trees, 58 trees to be precise. So I think it's really important that they reconsider the route.
If the proposed plan is executed, some businesses will need to be torn down. Seniors in the area would be cut off from the bank and medical services at Jasper Gate Square, and other businesses in the area will see a significant decrease in patronage if traffic patterns are forced to change.
On the one hand, they say it really shouldn't affect the traffic in that direction, but then on the other hand, it's really important that we separate the grade because it will affect the traffic. So it's just not making sense.
Speakers were asked by a member of council if they had a problem with the LRT expansion itself or just the route. They all agreed that the expansion would be a welcome addition, just not through their neighborhood.
This is how I've approached it since the beginning of my time on council, is that I'm not looking to reopen the route debate. That was settled a decade ago. The important thing, though, is how do we make sure this route works as well as possible?
Another public hearing similar to this one will be held in April, and that will likely be the last opportunity for public input on the project.
Brendan, are there any specific areas of concern voiced by the residents?
Yeah, the intersection at 149th Street and Stony Plain Road seems to be the one people are most concerned about. Now, the city has a couple plans outlined. Number one, they could divert traffic underneath the train and keep the train going on Stony Plain Road, or they could build an elevation so that the train could ride above the street. But both of those have been deemed to be really costly and very disruptive to the existing infrastructure.
All right, Brendan, and when can people expect a decision to be made on these projects?
Well, the city's going to take some time to consider the comments that were made, both at this meeting and at the next one. But they do have a timeline in which they want to get this all taken care of by, and they want to get construction plans sorted out in the summer. So that likely means at that next meeting, some decisions are going to have to be made.
Thanks, Brendan. That's our Brendan Escott reporting live from the South Lobby.
The province released its budget yesterday, and the government delivered on its promise to freeze tuition in Alberta for a fourth consecutive year. The province says that by extending the freeze, a student earning a four-year degree will save on average a total of $1,250. The province also committed to provide up to $17 million in backfill funding to post-secondary institutions. The budget also included money to fund 3,000 new post-secondary technologies spaces over 5 years.
Encourage students to take advantage of those opportunities. We're also investing $7 million in scholarships to support them. Some of the money will be targeted to support underrepresented groups in tech-related sectors, women in particular, and and there will be more details about how that money will be allocated in the very near future.
In the budget, the province also said it will continue with a promised 2% funding increase to post-secondary institutions.
A colorful week at NAIT as we celebrate our uniqueness with Pride Week.
Events like the Pride March are happening throughout the week to show support and celebrate the LGBTQ2S+ community. Nikita Ganovichev has more on that story.
Thanks, guys. NAIT's Student Association has reserved this room behind me to act as a safe space for students. It's just one of the things NAIT is doing as part of Pride Week.
Happy NAIT Pride! Woo!
People and puppies marched down the halls of NAIT on Tuesday in celebration of Pride Week. The week-long event shows support for the LGBTQ2S+ community. Timothy Tripp, a student in the personal fitness trainer program, helped lead the parade and believes that Pride Week helps to create meaningful conversations on campus.
Pride Week is very important still, because when Pride Week comes up, you get to see like how much people are still uncomfortable with just like Pride culture in general.
While the parade and rally were a strong visual support of the LGBTQ2S+ community, NAIT is also asking staff and students to take part in a diversity and inclusion survey to better understand the diverse community at NAIT. Manager of Student Engagement, Madeline Christensen, is one of the leads involved with this survey.
There's been a few different anecdotal pieces of information that various groups across campus have been collecting for the last couple of years, but we don't really have a good idea of what the climate looks like across campus and from all different demographics.
Christensen says the feedback will help shape how NAIT continues to work on creating an inclusive campus for all students.
I do actually think there's been some good conversations that have been happening around Pride Week because of the survey, which is actually really encouraging.
It's encouraging for Triff too, as he believes there's room for growth in the conversation about Pride culture.
Like I do still feel like I get judged for coming out, because it's always coming out when you bring up your sexuality in any context.
The Diversity and Inclusion Survey can be found on students' MyNAIT portal, and the deadline is March 27th. Back to you guys in the studio.
Thanks, Nikita.
That's Nikita Ganovichev reporting from the CAT building.
You're watching NAIT NewsWatch.
32 Edmonton youth are facing hundreds of charges relating to crimes at LRT stations and recreation facilities around our city. Edmonton police released disturbing surveillance video from the Belvedere LRT station, where a woman was forcefully kicked down the stairs by a teen. Police say this second surveillance footage shows the new trend swarming, where a large group of teens surround a victim. Social media is usually where these individuals plan their attacks, so police are reminding people to be aware of their surroundings and to report any suspicious activity.
Taken the LRT with my kids before. We enjoy Edmonton, we enjoy the downtown area. I think it's safe. It's things like this and events like this that cause it to come into question. But again, I think this is something that we don't own as a police, we own as a community.
460 charges have been laid against 32 male youth and 2 men.
Drivers in Edmonton will have to focus on speed limits a little more attentively when spring break wraps up. The City of Edmonton has announced that the grace period for the playground zones will be over at the end of spring break, and the 30-kilometer-an-hour speed limit will start to be enforced. However, some citizens around the city are upset with the added playground zones. Chuck Doby is one of them.
Well, I feel like it was an abrupt, unnecessary addition to the city of Edmonton, and it's just another way for them to make money off the taxpayers by giving them a bunch of tickets when they already had the school zones, which I felt sufficed enough. But the 7:30 in the morning to 9 p.m. it's just ridiculous, because in the middle of winter, it's dark out at 5 p.m. Like, these kids aren't going to be out playing at 8 o'clock at night when it's minus 30.
The 30-kilometer-an-hour speed limit went into effect back in November. The speed limit is enforceable from 7:30 a.m. to 9 p.m. every day.
After 2 years of construction, the premium outlet collection Edmonton International Airport Mall is almost ready to open their doors to shoppers. The fully enclosed 428,000 square foot shopping center will feature up to 100 stores, such as H&M, Nike, Old Navy, Marshalls, and Designer Shoe Warehouse, which was announced Tuesday as an anchor store.
There's 88,000 cars that drive past this location every single day. That's a huge factor. In addition to that, there's 7.8 million people that come through this airport every year. That's huge traffic numbers. Ease of accessibility, being close to the highway, high visibility, easy to get in and out, all played into it.
The $215 million investment will create more than 1,200 new jobs in Alberta. A job fair will be happening this weekend from March 24th to the 25th. The mall is expected to open on May 2nd of 2018.
The Inner Cities Agencies Foundation hosted its 23rd luncheon. Mac and cheese was on the menu this week to raise awareness and money to support people living in poverty.
Welcome to the 23rd annual Mac and Cheese Luncheon in support of the Inner Cities Agencies Foundation.
The ICAF Foundation works at getting rid of poverty-related problems in the city. Homelessness, addiction, and mental and physical health are just a few targets the foundation has. In 23 years, the Mac and Cheese Luncheon has managed to help thousands by raising more than $2 million to face these issues.
I really want to put a face to the donations that these people are giving and just let them see where it can bring a person like me who came from really dire circumstances to where I am today, helping other people reach their goals.
Deputy Mayor Michael Walters, on behalf of Don Iveson, officially proclaimed March 18th to 24th as Inner City Awareness Week by honoring co-chairs Keith Hennell and Jeff Baker with an official plaque.
A popular Edmonton restaurant is turning leftovers into new menu items. Looking to eradicate food waste in the Edmonton area, Northern Chicken has partnered with a non-for-profit, volunteer-run organization by the name of Leftovers YEG. The organization is designed to take leftovers from around the city and use those leftovers to provide meals for the less fortunate.
So food waste accounts for about $32 billion in Canada a year, and to put that in perspective, that's 2% of our GDP. That is more than the arts community deals in. That's more than our agriculture sector does. It's about 40% of what we actually produce in Canada. So we import products and then we waste 40%.
Leftovers YEG focuses mainly on food waste, but also provides meals for underprivileged children and the homeless. To help out, you can sign up to volunteer or make donations at www.rescuefood.ca.
The Edmonton Henge is a rare and beautiful sight that we experience here in the city, and it was happening this week. This week, with the sun rising in the east and setting in the west, it lined up with Edmonton avenues, making it an inconvenience for drivers driving at that hour.
Our streets and things like that become a bit like a Stonehenge in a way, where basically the avenues will allow us to actually watch the rising and setting position of the sun at this particular time of the year. That during the spring equinox, our sun is gaining, after that particular date, is gaining higher and higher elevation off towards the southern sky.
Daylight will soon be the same amount of hours as night. And coming up after the break, we take a look at some phone apps that could help you get a better night's rest.
The majority of students don't get enough sleep, with only 15% getting the recommended 8 hours a night.
I'm always tired. I'm a night owl. It's not really conducive to.
Coming up in sports, how much Canadian content did you think about filling out your bracket? That and much more coming up in sports.
As we head into the first weekend of spring, as you can see, we still have snow falling, and I'll have your weather coming up after the break.
Girl, I'm so tired of listening to the same songs on NR92.
The new music nooner, every day on NR92.
Hey Dave, the weather out there is kind of disappointing, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm not too excited about it, but at least spring's around the corner.
Honestly, hopefully Amber has some good news for us. Amber?
Hey guys, unfortunately I don't have good news for you. As we head into the first weekend of spring, it's going to be cloudy and chilly. So let's take a look at Calgary. So on Saturday, they're going to have a low of -5 and a high of +1. So a little bit better than the capital so far. As we head on over to Jasper, there's some ideal conditions happening in the weather so that, you know, if you want to go skiing, this is the time to go. So on Saturday, they have a low of -11 and a high of +4. Heading on over to Fort McMurray, Saturday is mostly cloudy with a low of -7 and a high of -5. Back to the capital city, Again, mix of sun and cloud, a low of -9 and a high of -2. And then looking at our averages and records, we have an average of +4 and a low of -6. Thankfully, we're not in 1904 where it was a record low of -30. So pretty happy about that. Back to you guys.
NewsWatch Weather is brought to you by NR92, the station for the students.
Being a student is a full-time commitment, and at times it can be hard to get some well-needed sleep.
Yeah, new technology, including apps for your cell phone, have come out in order to help you fall asleep faster and wake up easier. Our Mackenzie Gates has more.
World Sleep Day occurred last week on March 16th, and it was revealed that Albertans are the most sleep-deprived people in Canada. For students, it's worse. On top of exams and assignments causing stress, only 15% of students sleep the recommended 8 hours a night, with phones being the main culprit.
I guess kind of check-in pins or something like that.
Yeah, actually, always. I'm always tired. I'm a night owl. It's not really conducive to, being at 8 o'clock in the morning. So.
Some people use alternative methods in trying to get to sleep, including meditation. However, if you can't find the time to do that, there are applications for your cell phone that can help you get to sleep faster.
For the right people. Right now, I just don't have time to get into it myself to understand it all. But yeah, I think for most people it'd help.
Apps, including Sleep Cycle, go for as little as 99 cents. The app monitors your sleep pattern, and when you activate the sleep aid function, it slowly disappears as you fall into a deep sleep.
And the app also has an alarm set, which slowly wakes you up from your deep sleep.
Sleep is a very important part in a student's life, as well as in other species. For humans, finding ways to get a better sleep is integral to a more stress-free life. Mackenzie Gates, NAIT NewsWatch.
Did you hear about how many Canadians are playing in March Madness this year?
No, I didn't. Brett, you got something for us?
Well, there are quite a bit of Canadian content in the NCAA's Big Dance, but first we start on the ice. The NAIT Ukes went up against the McEwen Griffins in a rematch of last year's ACAC Finals to try to spoil the Griffins' back-to-back championship bid. Series tied at 1, and it would be the McEwen Griffins who would draw first blood when Ryan Baskerville would put the puck past Nathan Park and put the Griffins on the board. It's 1-0. In the second, Jordan Davies gets the puck in the high slot, and he would snipe it past playoff MVP Marc-Olivier Dague, and it's 1-1. However, Ryan Baskerville would say, whoa, not so fast, Nate, as he would finish the tic-tac-toe play to put the Griffs back up by 1. In the third, Brett Smythe would put the dagger in the Ukes' heart as he buries the puck in the wild scrum in front of the Ukes' net. And that would be all the Griffins would need to win their second consecutive ACAC championship 4-1. McEwen Griffin goaltender Marc-Olivier Dague spoke about the resiliency of his team.
We never doubt ourselves, even after game 1, we knew Nate was going to come back around in game 2, and even after the score, after the loss in game 2, we said, you know what, we've been through it last year, we never quit, and we knew that, we had no doubt in our minds, we had a good gut feeling coming in, and we knew we were going to give it all.
Both the McEwen men and women have been crowned champions the last 2 seasons. Speaking of university hockey, the U Sports National Finals were held this past weekend in Fredericton, New Brunswick. And for the 16th time, the University of Alberta Golden Bears are your University Cup champions.
The University of Alberta are national champions once again.
It took a wild 8-6 victory over the Acadia Axemen, a thrilling overtime winner against rival Saskatchewan Huskies, and a 4-2 victory over the St. Francis Xavier X-Men for the Golden Bears to win their 16th national title. Tournament MVP Stefan Lego spoke about the up and down road to the championship.
Get our legs under us a bit and get going. We knew we were a good team, so just kind of get the ball rolling a bit and then continue on. I felt we had a good chance if we played our game and got going after the first game.
Fifth-year player Jamie Crooks is the only player who will be leaving the team at the moment. The future's up in the air for a crown jewel of the Edmonton baseball scene. The home of baseball here in Edmonton is currently known as Remax Field. But after former MLB player and Hall of Famer Roberto Alomar was in town for a baseball banquet, he penned a letter to Don Iveson about the importance of baseball in Canada and to the city, after hearing the possible teardown of the stadium. Being host to many of the game's greatest players of all time like Alex Rodriguez, Canadian Justin Morneau, and slugger Mark McGuire, the field is currently the home of the Edmonton Prospects of the Western Major Baseball League and is used for academies and club teams. And it means much more than just a baseball stadium.
It's just a nice place to be. It's just kind of where baseball is centered in Edmonton, and there are not that many ballparks in Edmonton. You know, you've got John Fry, and you know it's kind of average, and you know there's really not much else as far as higher level facilities.
Remax Field was opened in May of 1995 and has been formerly known as the Edmonton Ballpark and most commonly Telus Field. Did you fill out your March Madness brackets? Well, if you did, you may be surprised just how much Canada is represented in this year's NCAA Big Dance. There are 22 men and 17 women in total who are representing the red and white in the NCAA's National Basketball Championship this year. Going into the Sweet 16 this weekend, there are 3 overall Canadian men left, including Syracuse's O'Shea Brissett and Howard Washington. On the women's side, there are 8 who remain, including undefeated UConn's Kia Nurse and Texas Longhorn Caron Goudreau sisters, Audrey-Ann and Kaylee-Ann.
I'm glad to see the media picking up on its popularity and understanding that young people are gravitating to the sport in record numbers, both in their participation, but also in their spectating. And March Madness is very captivating for people because everybody likes to fill the brackets out.
The Sweet 16 continues this weekend. Skiing, no problem. Snowboarding, different story. In this week's End Zone Challenge, I took to the slopes to see if I was the next Mark McMorris. I'm wearing jeans for this, so I feel like I'm pretty ready. First, I had to get suited up before I met my teacher, Ben.
We are going to go over there. I'll show you how to move around on the snowboard.
I learned that the key to moving around was balance. I didn't have much faith in myself, but my first time down the hill was pretty decent. And I started to get a little cocky, so we headed up the magic carpet to come down a steeper mountain. I started with coming down on my heel edge, which is not bad other than the fact I kept going sideways instead of forwards. After a few times down the medium-sized hill, we headed up the chairlift, and that hit me quick.
You okay?
We started with the same thing down the hill, but Ben then told me that we were going to learn how to carve.
Yeah, it's almost like you're reaching for something, and that's going to allow you to get the weight on the foot in the direction that you want to go, and that's it.
I felt like a teeter-totter, and coming to a complete stop was not in my arsenal quite yet. But I still have time to be the next Mark McMorris.
So, Brett, how many times did you fall?
Give or take 8, but there was probably much more.
Yeah.
So now you went a couple times. You gonna hit the mountains?
You know what? I think I have a couple more, lessons before I'm that good, but hey, we'll see.
Awesome. Coming up after the break, a movie about workplace challenges that women face.
Dream Girl follows the lives of entrepreneurs in pursuit of their dreams.
And I have a huge supportive network. I'm a tribe of women that...
All right, to lay this out for you nice and plain, some stuff's coming up that's sure to entertain. A couple suggestions for that weekend plan, but first, let's take a break with a word from the man.
Students, NR92's Facebook page has got you covered.
NR92's Facebook page keeps you up to date with events going on around campus. Check out NR92's Facebook page to stay informed.
NewsWatch clothing provided by Action Air Mold and Asbestos.
NewsWatch music provided by Martin Mayer Productions.
It's pretty unfortunate that our weekend's going to be cloudy, hey?
Yeah, it definitely is. Maybe there's some good shows we can check out. Zach, what do you have for us?
Hey guys, I got a lot of great stuff coming up this week. I'm really excited to get to it. But first, we have our Melissa McKenzie to talk to us about the movie Dream Girl.
There's a moment in your life when you know you're destined for something greater. Local female entrepreneurs gathered at MacEwan University for the screening of the movie Dream Girl. Dream Girl uncovers the challenges that female entrepreneurs can face when trying to start their own business. Erin Bagwell had been working in a corporate job when she met a bunch of women who had began their own companies. Inspired by their independence and drive, she quit her job and went to follow her dream of making her own movie. She decided to make a movie surrounding the lives of the female entrepreneurs she had met, and thus Dream Girl was born.
I've always known I wanted to, create and make my own culture because, I just wanted to make my own way.
The MacEwan Entrepreneurship Club hosted the screening on Tuesday night for women to speak about their experiences as professionals and the challenges they overcame in the workplace.
I've grown my company organically through my network, and I have a huge supportive network. I have a tribe of women that are business owner that I can be, like they said, you can have meltdown or you can have celebration, you can cry, you can do whatever. And I think that's really important.
In a time where women are standing up for themselves more than ever, Dream Girl offers an inspiring message for up-and-coming female entrepreneurs. For more information about the film, visit dreamgirlfilm.com. Melissa McKenzie, NAIT NewsWatch.
A little bit of magic has arrived at the Jubilee Auditorium, and you'll want to check this show out before the clock strikes 12. The beloved fairy tale Cinderella is being brought to life with lavish dance sequences by Alberta Ballet for a mix of fun and whimsy, giving you a whole new way to experience the classic.
The movement connects not only with people that are familiar with dance, but also for people that have never been to a ballet before. We wanted to make this production of Cinderella very welcoming to new audiences, younger audiences, and so it was very important to keep all of those things in mind.
Cinderella will be performed from the 22nd to the 24th of March. MacEwan University is taking a trip to the City of Angels for a mix of film noir and show tunes.
Without me, you're nothing at all.
Set in the Hollywood Golden Age of the 1940s, City of Angels tells the story of novelist Steen, who's trying to adapt his best-selling novel into a screenplay. But as he works, he finds the lines between reality and fiction start to blur.
I was going to say the technical elements are incredible on this show. I don't think I've seen a university show quite with the amount of technical elements that this has, and it's pretty amazing to see it all come together.
City of Angels will be performed live at MacEwan's Allard Hall on March 31st. If you want to show off your skills on the microphone, then this is definitely the place to be. Several poets and rappers gathered for sick beats and even sicker rhymes taking place at the open mic night at Carrot Cafe.
Man, when you have a microphone in your hand and you have something to say, it's a very wonderful thing.
The Hip Hop Showcase at Carrot Cafe on 118th is held every second to last Wednesday of the month. If you're looking for ways to reinvigorate your home for this summer, this weekend's Expo event has you covered. The Edmonton Home and Garden Show had a number of vendors and displays selling some very interesting products that truly give you the home of the future.
People that I've met here so far, the other exhibitors, the people that have helped us get set up, it's a great way to get to the Edmonton and area people, and I'm sure people outside of the Edmonton area come to this show as well.
The Edmonton Home and Garden Show will be at the Edmonton Expo Center all weekend long. Okay, everyone, sadly, that's all I got for you this week. Back to you guys.
Yeah, that's all we got for you here on NAIT NewsWatch. Rejoice.
Thanks for joining us, and we hope that you guys have an amazing weekend.